Happy end of week all. We are about a half week away from Season 21, aka Season of the Deep. And we've gotten most previews so far, including a teaser trailer. We know a lot of changes that are happening next week, so let's go over what in the actual heck is soon to come. The Lightfall story will be continuing throughout this entire year. These seasonal stories will connect Lightfall and the final shape, and Bungie have said we'll find out some pretty interesting things along the way. The teaser trailer has confirmed our return to Titan, along with a taken Sloane and some long unsolved mysteries. We will be venturing underwater for the first time ever with some fancy new armor ornaments, so that's pretty awesome. A new dungeon will also be launching a few days later to sink our teeth into. Separately, Neomuna will also have a new quest where we will be exploring the destination to learn more about that one thing called the Veil. Upon completion, 3 new strand aspects will become available. We now know what these do. Hunters get Threaded Spectre, where using your dodge creates a strand decoy that draws nearby enemies' attention. After taking heavy damage or when approached by enemies, the decoy detonates and damages, also releasing 2 threadlings for some extra damage. Titans get Fletchette Storm, I probably butchered that, where using your charged melee while sliding will propel you into the air, knocking enemies away and damaging them. While airborne, using your charged melee again will launch a cluster of damaging unraveling projectiles, with repeated melee activation chaining additional throws. Warlocks get the Wanderer, where tangles you throw attach to enemies and detonate in a suspending burst, with threadling final blows also creating tangles. In addition to the new aspects, we will also get our hands on a new hand cannon. It may seem familiar, and that could be due to the Lightfall cover art and how the hunter is holding a currently unobtainable weapon, which looks awfully like this concept art. No matter, we will find out soon. In regards to the gameplay loop of the season, Bungie have said that a vendor upgrade grid will not be present due to plenty of feedback, and we should hopefully see some sort of fresh activity experience. Bungie references the introduction of Battlegrounds and the Shattered Realm for comparison. Individual season prices starting next season will also be increasing a bit, but the current Lightfall editions will stay as is. On to PvP. Yes, PvP. Anyway, the current comp weapon Rose will be replaced by a new Arc Sniper, name unknown, with Rose not available next season but returning in the future. In addition, a new Ascendant emblem will be replacing the current one, following this pattern for future seasons. A unique transmat effect will also be available for reaching Silver 3 or higher, changing its appearance based on your current division. We will also see the return of Meltdown from back in Warmind. Iron Banner will also get some updates later down the line, but seemingly nothing major next season. With Trials, there will be new exotic cosmetics coming next season. A ghost, a ship, and a sparrow. There will also be a new gold shader to get. It will be permanently unlocked once gotten, along with future trial shaders. The glorious Patina shader will only be available for floors next season, with older adept weapon shaders returning in the future. Messenger will be returning once again, with the new Unexpected Resurgence Adaptive Art Glaive. The Adept Resurgence will be available in Week 3, Adept Messenger in Week 4. Trials will also be launching in Week 1 instead of its slight hiatus due to there being no power increase and many people already at Pinnacle Cap. With the experimental matchmaking, a fix will be issued next season where high-skilled solos were seeing very tough matches, presumably for more labs. The practice and challenger pools are believed to be working well together. Go to this video to get a more in-depth look at the 2 pools, also in the description. And next season, the farming and stomping protection values will be tuned to make farming less likely. If you're interested in more details on matchmaking, the article will be linked in the description. The intro quest for Trials is changing as well, to more of an actual intro. New players will need to enter the comp playlist, raise their power level, and then enter Trials. Completing this quest will award an Astral Horizon shotgun. Wow. Not too sure what the current quest is, but hopefully this helps newer players become more familiar with the more competitive modes. Some passages are also changing. Wealth will grant 75 more rep per win, and a bonus for each major rank. with a max of 150. Mercy will forgive 2 losses if you haven't gone flawless for the week. It will revert to 1 after going flawless on subsequent cards. After many years, Elimination will be replaced by Dominion for the core game mode for Trials next season. Capture Zone spawning at the start instead of the end. And a lot of reasons are given, including it giving you a choice between Elim or capping the zone, and games being 15% more faster due to Elim just becoming a passive simulator. Again, read the article if you want more details. Gilded Flawless requirements are also changing. You'll need a hefty amount of Elims, a reset worth of ranks, a Flawless and Elims with a seasonal exotic weapon equipped. This doesn't mean to actually get kills with the weapon though, just equipped. And specific medals multiple times with the Light for the Lost emblem and the Flawless Empyrean emblem. Medals must be earned on a card with 0 losses. Big changes here, definitely makes the gilding more of a challenge. Lastly, there is a new emblem coming to Trials. You can only get this if you go flawless while never trailing in any match, meaning you'll never be behind the other team in any round. And that is what we know so far for the PvP side of the game. Let me know what you think of these changes. With Guardian ranks, to lessen the impact of your rank being totally reset, your displayed rank will be your highest achieved rank earned the previous season, and achieving a higher rank will become your new display. Only blue tinted challenges need to be completed again to renew your ranks, aka seasonal. A new display will also be added that will display your seasonal history. Commendation counts will be reset each season, and your score and breakdown will be tracked each season, with score partially resetting. Next season, returning players will also start at rank 5 instead of 6, with the 5 to 7 journey being much faster than the original 6 to 7. Leadership commendation requirements in ranks 10 and 11 will also become retroactive, meaning getting those cards before seeing them again will all count. With build crafting, 2 new armor mods are coming, or almost returning that we had pre-Lightfall. Powerful Attraction, reminiscent of Seeking Wells, lets you collect all orbs within a radius determined by how many copies you have when using your class ability. Seeking orbs would have been too much of a technical limitation due to the sheer amount of orb generation that we are capable of. The second mod is Elemental Charges, reminiscent of old Elemental Charge. This lets you gain an escalating chance to gain an armor charge when collecting subclass specific collectibles matching your damage type, with the probability of gaining a charge tuned differently to account for the frequency of each collectible. Also, destroying a Tangle will work for Strand. The coveted Shoot to Loot will also be able to loot orbs. We will also finally be able to refund individual artifact perks, yay, from the artifact next season instead of taking 50 years to reset the entire thing. Awesome. No significant Vanguard changes, but some bounties are being adjusted. Specific kill daily bounties will be longer, but can be done anywhere, and enemy type repeatables will also be longer, but can be done on any enemy, with the correct enemy counting more. There will also be 3 new bounties, which sound quite simple. No significant GM changes, however, due to no power increase, they will be launching in week 4 instead of 7, due to most people being high enough already. This does not include the Conqueror Gilding node, however. Exotic armor focusing is coming next season to Rahul. All exotic engrams besides activities that award exotics like Nightfalls will instead sit in your engram inventory. You will be able to decrypt these for free at Rahul, but these will also have 2 other tiers of decryption. Advanced Decryption will let you focus an engram to a specific release, with Lightfall coming later. Season exotics will still be included in the year they released. You need to own the associated expansion and all pieces within the engram for your class. This will cost 1 engram, 30k glimmer, and an Ascendant Shard. Precision Decryption will let you focus a specific armor piece. This again requires the associated expansion and acquisition of the exotic piece. You cannot focus a piece you have not gotten. It will cost 1 engram, 60k glimmer, 3 shards, and an exotic cipher. The cipher limit is increasing to 5 because of this. Exotics should also roll with more consistently high stats, around mid-60s on average, and with more individual stat spikes. Since power is not increasing, the complete activities challenges in Ritual playlists will be changing to a focusable, powerful exotic engram. These will also drop randomly from the season pass and vendor resets after the first reset, with more sources in the future. With weapon crafting, next season will allow players to manually apply deep sight to eligible weapons for pattern progress. Eligibility means that the weapon has not previously had deep sight on it, and you cannot apply deep sight on a single weapon multiple times. This makes sense. Weapons from raid vendors will not be able to have deep sight applied, but can if from Xur or Banshee. To apply deep sight, you need to apply the new deep sight harmonizer currency. Non-raid weapons will cost 1 harmonizer, and raid weapons will cost 1 harmonizer plus 15 spoils of conquest. They can only be gotten from the season pass initially, 3 from each track, cannot be stacked, and can only hold 1 at a time. Should be helpful for raid and destination weapons that have terrible RNG. Legendary shard cost will also be removed from all crafting components, but will remain on enhanced weapons. A few miscellaneous items. Archie is returning next season at a spot in the tower, with the Good Boy Protocol stat tracker coming back. This is awesome. Progress will carry from season 19. Legacy raid content with random chance exotics are getting the boosted triumph treatment next season. That's a tongue twister. With completed triumphs being retroactive. Pause to read each raid. These are 1000 Voices from Last Wish, Eyes of Tomorrow from Deepstone, Collective Obligation from Vow, Vex Mythoclast from Vogue, and Touch of Malice from King's Fall. Finest Matterweave and Rainmaker are finally being deprecated. They won't drop and instead will award 1 core or 3k glimmer where they would have dropped. They will be able to be consumed for those currencies in your inventory. In terms of weapons, Mindbender's Ambition, Malicious Birthright, the Inquisitor, Whistler's Whim, Wizened Rebuke, Hero's Burden, and Rose will be replaced by Bratek Osprey, Loaded Question, Positive Outlook, a new strain Linear Fusion, Randy's Throwing Knife, Unexpected Resurgence, Messenger, a new strain Fusion, Swarm of the Raven, and a new Arc Sniper. Let me know what you are excited for. We also saw the new ritual weapon called Last Rite. It is a kinetic Tex Mechanica scout like Dead Man's Tail. Its 3 ornaments were also shown off, looking pretty clean. On the accessibility side, Bungie are adding an enemy targeted reticule color, which enables the hipfire reticle hue to change when hovering over enemies, the current being red. Players using colorblind settings will have the color applied to the reticle removed. A full auto melee setting will also be entering the game, changing the name of the current full auto setting to full auto firing to differentiate between the two. Holding down melee will repeat the melee attack for powered and unpowered melee abilities, roaming super melee attacks, and even swords and glaives. Controller players will also gain a new setting to swap the buttons used for confirm and cancel actions. Subtitles will get a different yellow hue added. The color selection has also changed to a drop-down menu previously left to right. The color selections will also become rectangles instead of text to make previewing much easier. If you remember back many months to the first community voted exotic ornament, the winning Arbalest ornament will finally be entering Eververse next season. Speaking of Eververse, a small update that shows recommended items catered to you is coming. There will be a shortcut to view recommended items not owned, as well as a new tab that will show your top 10 recommended items. Now onto the big changes to what we will be using. Fragment slot allotment for 1 slot aspects will increase to 2 slots. For Hunters, Trappist Ambush, Shatter Dive, and Gunpowder Gamble. For Titans, Bastion and Juggernaut. For Warlocks, Chaos Accelerant. For Supers, PvE damage resistance for all supers will be increasing by 20%, more so to help roaming supers in high-end content actually survive. Hunters, Golden Gun, Arc Staff, Spectral Blades, and Gathering Storm are getting some buffs, with the former 3 getting a PvE damage buff and the latter in PvP. Spectral will also be able to weaken enemies on heavy attack and will hopefully have its successive attacks hit more consistently. Titan's Fists of Havoc, Glacial Quake, Sentinel Shield, Hammer of Soul, and Burning Maul are getting buffed, with all of them getting a PvE damage buff. Fist of Havoc will be able to attack more, Glacial will have its melee be faster, and Burning Maul will also create a sunspot on cast like Hammer of Soul, with the Cyclone scorching enemies now. Warlocks, Nova Bomb and Warp, Storm Trance, Chaos Reach, Winter's Wrath, and Daybreak are getting some buffs and support, with all except Daybreak getting a PvE damage buff. Nova Warp will be able to make enemies volatile on fully charged attacks, Storm Trance damage ramp up will be faster, and Landfall will jolt. Chaos Reach, desperate for help, will create a jolting lightning strike on sustained enemy damage, be more resistant against players, and strafe faster. It will also have its camera adjusted to seeing literally everything better, with Daybreak receiving similar treatment. Good. All strand melees are being buffed. Hunter's Threaded Spike is having its range before returning and damage increased, catching potential made easier, melee energy return based on hits increased, can now pierce phalanx shields, and thank the Traveler, grapple melee will be prioritized over the melee catch, so less stylish ninja axe before being shot into oblivion. Titan's Frenzied Blade and Warlock's Arcane Needle are having their melee cooldown decreased based on held charges, with Arcane Needle also becoming faster in flight and slightly stronger at tracking. Grapple cooldown and time between subsequent activations is being decreased, with Thread of Generation having its generation reduced for some damage over time mechanics and trace rifles. For Stasis, Hunter's Withering Blade melee tracking is being increased against enemies and players, Titan's Shiver Strike thrust and Gravity Influence are being increased and decreased respectively, with the Howl of the Storm aspect being able to freeze players better, and Warlock's Frost Pulse aspect now provides extra melee lunge after activation for a short time to help secure frozen kills. For light-based abilities, Shoulder Charge spamming is ending after how many years, with activation for non-enemy hits costing a bit of melee energy, but cooldown is now the same across all subclasses and was lowered. Your strength stat will determine how fast the energy comes back, which is not that long. Knockout for Strikers is having its lunge range reduced, but PvE damage increased to compensate. Shield throw damage is increasing, and finding a target after a bounce will be easier. Throwing Hammer will adjust its flight path based on your aim assist target, and sunspots will become more lethal to players. Hunter's Snare Bomb is having its detonation duration increased. Most throwing knives are getting adjusted, with proxy knife damage shifting more towards direct impact. Weighted knife is having its tracking adjusted on PC, and lightweight knife, that one that I've never seen before, is becoming faster and stronger in tracking targets. Gunpowder Gamble cooldown is also being halved. Warlock's Incinerator Snap had a detonation bug fixed, and damage reduced against players to compensate for the consistency increase. Ball Lightning had its PvE damage increased and made less likely for combatants to be yeeted out of the radius while amplified. For Chaos Accelerant, Scatter Nade's submunitions tracking and arming duration has been increased, with an early detonation bug being fixed. Handheld Supernova's holding time has also been increased. Lightning Surge was one-shotting when activated near a wall or surface. Can't count how many times this happened. This will be fixed. Good! Damage has been slightly adjusted, but will be higher and more consistent than previous intended values without annihilating your existence. For subclass keywords, Scorch duration before fall-off has been increased against players and combatants. Jolt-based damage and damage against mages has been decreased. Speed Booster Jump Boost has been slightly decreased. Activation and Linger have been decreased and increased respectively. And a bug has been fixed where it wouldn't activate if a player was already amplified and sprinting. We also got a look at 24 exotic armor pieces getting some updates, some buffs, cool reworks, and unexpected and expected nerfs. Check out this video for a more in-depth look at what's changing. And that is what we know so far coming in Season of the Deep. Definitely a lot of changes and additions coming so far, with more info coming in a possible extra article and a twab. After recording this, Bungie dropped a weapon changes article with buffs and changes as well as reticle changes, which was expected, and I will talk about it in a video along with the final 12 of the season, so look out for that. And don't forget, these are not all changes coming. The patch notes next week will provide everything. I will keep you up to date with whatever else we learn before next week, so stay tuned for that. If you found this at all helpful or enjoyed your stay, dropping a like or sub would be greatly appreciated, and you can always change your mind later. Enjoy the rest of Season 20 and your week, and I will catch you later.